So when it all became too much, I could transform in my cell, become a dog. This is how Sirius Black, the godfather of Harry Potter, did survive from his lovely stay in Azkaban. But was he really the same man as he was before his incarceration? In this article, we're going to explain how the events of the life of this member of the Phoenix had an impact about his psychology. Sirius Black, born into the esteemed Black family on November 3rd, 1959, in Islington, England, had a tumultuous youth marked by rebellion against his family's staunch beliefs in blood purity. Unlike his parents, Orion and Walburga Black, who embraced the ideology of Voldemort's Death Eaters, Sirius rejected their views. The Black family's obsession with pure-blood elitism and their disdain for Muggles and Muggleborns clashed sharply with Sirius's principles. Growing up in this environment, Sirius experienced familial discord due to his defiance of the family's traditions. While his relatives pursued marriages within the pure-blood community, Sirius distanced himself from such conventions, demonstrating his dissent by displaying Gryffindor symbols and Muggle imagery in his room. His actions were a deliberate affront to his family's values, and he openly criticized his cousins Bellatrix and Narcissa for their conformist marriages to pure-blood wizards. Sirius's rejection of his family's beliefs led to estrangement and animosity from certain relatives, including his parents and some members of the Black family tree. Despite the pressure to conform, Sirius remained steadfast in his opposition to blood purity, aligning himself instead with ideals of equality and acceptance. Regulus Arcturus Black is the younger brother of Sirius Black and was sorted into Slytherin House. Regulus became a Death Eater in his youth, but later defected after realizing the true nature of Lord Voldemort's intentions. Regulus had as well a complex relationship with his family, especially with his older brother Sirius, who initially viewed him with derision but later regretted their strained relationship. Pre-Hogwarts, it's speculated they were close, with Sirius likely being protective of his younger brother Regulus, shielding him from their parents' harshness. Regulus, in turn, may have looked up to Sirius, admiring his bravery and wit. However, as Sirius diverged from the family's traditional views and found camaraderie with James Potter, the bond between the brothers strained. Regulus, feeling the weight of familial expectations, possibly struggled to find his own identity amidst Sirius's outspoken rebellion. The divide widened when Sirius left home, leaving Regulus to navigate the family's ideology alone. Regulus's eventual alignment with the Death Eaters further strained their relationship, especially considering Sirius's staunch opposition to Voldemort and his followers. Despite their differences, there are hints of remorse and understanding in Sirius's characterization of Regulus, suggesting a deeper complexity to their relationship. Sirius seemed to acknowledge Regulus's choices as influenced by family loyalty rather than inherent malice, hinting at lingering affection and guilt. Sorted into Gryffindor, Sirius stood out in a family dominated by Slytherins. His time at Hogwarts was characterized by a deep bond with his friends James Potter, Remus Lupin, and Peter Pettigrew, forming the iconic quartet known as the Marauders. Their friendship transcended conventional boundaries, and together they navigated the challenges of adolescence and wizarding life. Despite his tumultuous relationship with his family, Sirius found solace and camaraderie at Hogwarts. He relished in the freedom to express his individuality, adorning his room with Gryffindor banners and Muggle artifacts, much to his family's dismay. Sirius and James were kindred spirits, united by their shared rebellious streaks and their refusal to conform to societal norms. Their mutual disdain for authority figures and their penchant for mischief solidified their friendship, and they quickly became inseparable. Their partnership extended beyond mere camaraderie. They were integral components of each other's lives. Together, they navigated the complexities of adolescence and the challenges posed by their respective family backgrounds. At age 16, Sirius found refuge in the Potter household, where he was warmly welcomed by James's parents, Fleamont and Euphemia Potter, who treated him as one of their own. Walburga, his indignant mother, removed his name from the family tree, following the tradition for those who didn't align with the family's supremacist beliefs. Alphard, Sirius's uncle and Walburga Walburga's brother, empathized with his nephew's plight and bequeathed him a substantial inheritance in his will, presumably prompting Walburga to expunge Alphard's name as well. With his uncle's generous gift, Sirius gained financial independence and eventually secured his own place. During his time at Hogwarts, Sirius and his friends, in a daring display of loyalty, became animagi to support Remus Lupin, who struggled with his lycanthropy. Their ability to transform into animals allowed them to accompany Remus during his transformations and offer him companionship and support during his most vulnerable moments. The darkest moment of Sirius Black, often overshadowed or downplayed, involves his reckless prank against Severus Snape during their time at Hogwarts. At the age of 16, Sirius orchestrated a dangerous scheme that could have resulted in Snape's death or severe injury. Sirius, along with his friends, led Snape to the Shrieking Shack under the guise of curiosity, but the truth was far more sinister. The plan involved exposing Snape to Remus Lupin during his transformation into a werewolf, putting Snape's life at risk. This reckless behavior demonstrates a callous disregard for human life and reflects the darker aspects of Sirius's character. Despite the severity of the incident, it often gets glossed over or dismissed as a mere prank, especially by those who admire Sirius as a heroic figure. The implications of Sirius's actions go beyond mere mischief. They reveal a darker side to his personality and a willingness to endanger others for the sake of a joke. The consequences of Sirius's actions extend beyond the immediate danger posed to Snape. The incident speaks to deeper issues within the wizarding world, such as the lack of accountability and oversight at Hogwarts, where such dangerous behavior was not appropriately addressed by the school administration. In the aftermath of the incident, Snape's trauma and fear of Lupin and Sirius persisted into adulthood, underscoring the lasting impact of Sirius's actions. The question of Sirius Black's sexuality has been a topic of discussion within the Harry Potter fan community. Some fans theorize that he may have been gay, while others see him as a womanizer. These interpretations are born from fan fiction and personal speculation rather than explicit canon evidence. Some fans argue that Sirius being portrayed as gay could be a result of wanting more LGBTQ+ representation in literature, while others believe it's a way to criticize J.K. Rowling. However, there's no concrete evidence in the books to support either claim. Regarding Sirius's romantic interests, he may have been promiscuous before his imprisonment in Azkaban, or he was more of an eternal bachelor. His posters of bikini-clad women in his childhood bedroom at Grimmauld Place are often cited as evidence that he was attracted to women, but it's also acknowledged that this doesn't conclusively determine his sexual orientation. Ultimately, since J.K. Rowling hasn't provided explicit details about Sirius's romantic or sexual life beyond a few mentions, fans are free to interpret his character as they see fit. Whether he was gay, straight, bisexual, or something else entirely remains open to individual interpretation and fan fiction. Sirius Black's power and reputation in the wizarding world are subjects of much debate and speculation. Some believed he was Voldemort's right hand, even surpassing Bellatrix in influence and prowess. However, Sirius was never universally perceived as Voldemort's right hand during the First Wizarding War. False memories and perceptions arose after his incarceration in Azkaban, fueled by the need for explanations in tumultuous times. The original Order of the Phoenix held no doubts about his loyalty until the tragic events involving the Potters. Sirius Black's abilities and accomplishments are indeed noteworthy. He displayed intelligence and magical aptitude at a young age, becoming an animagus and contributing to the creation of the Marauders map while still a teenager. His duel with Bellatrix Lestrange is indicative of his combat skills, although his downfall came from underestimating her. Comparing Sirius to Bellatrix and Snape reveals distinct strengths and specialties. Snape excels in potions, legilimency, and spell invention, while Bellatrix and Sirius lean more towards practical magical applications like charms and dueling. In wizarding prowess, Sirius Black ranks among the top fighters, but he doesn't quite ascend to the echelons occupied by the likes of McGonagall, Flitwick, Dumbledore, and Voldemort. He remains a formidable presence, albeit not at the pinnacle of magical power. During the First Wizarding War, Sirius Black was deeply involved in the conflict against Lord Voldemort and his Death Eaters. As a member of the Order of the Phoenix, he fought tirelessly against the dark forces that threatened the wizarding world. However, this period was marked by intense turmoil and suspicion among allies. Sirius, burdened by the looming threat of Voldemort struggled with mistrust and stress, leading him to exclude his old friend Remus Lupin from crucial information, suspecting him to be a spy. Conversely, Sirius placed unwavering trust in Peter Pettigrew, a decision that would haunt him for years to come. Aside from the chaos of the war, tragedy struck Sirius personally. In 1979, both his father and brother perished under mysterious circumstances. While the cause of Orion's death remains unknown, Regulus fell victim to Voldemort's sinister machinations when he attempted to destroy one of the Dark Lord's Horcruxes. Regulus's demise occurred as he drank the drink of despair and was subsequently dragged to his death by inferi, though Sirius was never fully informed of the specifics surrounding his brother's demise. Despite the events, Sirius remained steadfast in his commitment to the Order and his friendship with James Potter, whom he supported as best man during his wedding to Lily Evans. Sirius's bond with the Potters deepened when they named him Harry's godfather, entrusting him with the care of their son in the event of their untimely deaths. The reason Sirius Black was not the secret keeper for the Potters lies in the events leading up to their decision to use the Fidelius charm in 1981. While James Potter insisted on Sirius being the secret keeper, believing that Sirius would willingly sacrifice himself rather than disclose their location, Sirius, on the other hand, was concerned that Voldemort would suspect him. In order to choose a less obvious option, Sirius suggested Peter Pettigrew as the secret keeper and maintained this decision secretly, involving only the Potters in the change. This choice ultimately led to tragic consequences, as Pettigrew betrayed the Potters' whereabouts to Voldemort, resulting in their deaths, leading to his imprisonment in Azkaban without a trial. Sirius Black gave Hagrid a special flying motorbike at Godric's Hollow. This happened after the sad news of the Potters' death. Sirius urgently wanted Hagrid to take baby Harry, but Hagrid had strict orders to bring him to Little Winging, so he refused. So Sirius left the motorbike with Hagrid and went off to find Peter Pettigrew. Hagrid took care of the bike until the day it was needed to rescue Harry from number 4 Privet Drive, just before Harry turned 17. Peter Pettigrew framed Sirius by faking his own death and implicating Sirius in the murders of the Muggle witnesses. It resulted in Sirius being arrested by the Department of Magical Law Enforcement, who believed that Sirius had committed the crimes. He was then sentenced to life imprisonment in Azkaban without a trial based on fabricated evidence and testimony orchestrated by Pettigrew's deceit and the misinformation surrounding the events of that night. In analyzing whether Sirius Black should have had a trial, it's crucial to weigh the evidence against him and consider the context of the wizarding world during that tumultuous period. Every accused individual deserves a fair trial, but the circumstances surrounding Sirius's arrest and the evidence against him raise significant doubts about the feasibility and prudence of such a proceeding. Firstly, the evidence against Sirius is substantial and seemingly ironclad. Witnesses such as Dumbledore and Lupin could attest to Sirius being the secret keeper, while Muggle witnesses could corroborate his involvement in multiple homicides. Sirius's familial ties to known Death Eaters and the testimony of individuals like Snape further contribute to the perception of his guilt. The nature of the crimes, including his presence at the scene of the Potters' murder and his erratic behavior thereafter, paints a damning picture of Sirius's involvement. Additionally, the volatile political climate and the presence of Death Eater sympathizers within the Ministry pose significant risks. Allowing Sirius to reveal sensitive information during a trial, particularly regarding Harry Potter's whereabouts, could have catastrophic consequences, potentially leading to Harry's death at the hands of Voldemort's followers. The unique circumstances surrounding the Fidelius charm and the inability to coerce its secrets further complicate the prospect of a trial. Sirius's inability to claim coercion or imperious as a defense sets him apart from other Death Eaters, rendering traditional legal avenues less viable. In light of these factors, while the principle of due process is essential, the practical realities of the situation suggest that a trial for Sirius Black may have been both unwise and untenable. The risks of exposing sensitive information and the overwhelming weight of evidence against him make it unlikely that a trial would have resulted in a different outcome. Thus, it may have been a pragmatic decision given the circumstances of the time. The question of what Dumbledore knew and what he could have done regarding Sirius Black's innocence is complex. While there's no definitive evidence that Dumbledore knew about Sirius's innocence, one could argue that with his proficiency in legilimency, he might have been able to discern the truth. Confirming it with priori incantatem and veritaserum could have been additional steps to double-check. check. However, Dumbledore might not have had complete authority to intervene in the justice system. During Harry's trial, Dumbledore had just been removed as Chief Warlock of the Wizengamot, limiting his ability to influence legal proceedings. Additionally, the Ministry's perception of Sirius as guilty was fueled by strong circumstantial evidence, including a street of dead muggles, the apparent blasting of a victim, and Sirius's own erratic behavior during the arrest. It's essential to consider that even though Dumbledore was a powerful wizard, he wasn't omniscient and could make mistakes. In this case, the lack of information about the switch in Secret Keepers could have contributed to Dumbledore's belief in Sirius's guilt. The chaotic circumstances surrounding the events, Sirius's laughter, and apparent admission of guilt might have further convinced many, including Dumbledore, of Sirius's culpability. The criticism of Dumbledore being an asshole, as suggested by Aberforth, reflects the narrative's exploration of Dumbledore's flaws. The character is portrayed as a complex figure, capable of making significant mistakes. It's tempting to assume that Dumbledore could have done more to prevent Sirius's unjust imprisonment, but the situation was multifaceted, with legal limitations, circumstantial evidence, and incomplete information. The profound impact of Azkaban on Sirius Black's life, notably his unjust incarceration, lays bare the deep-seated flaws entrenched within the wizarding justice system. Azkaban, ostensibly designed as a bastion of security for the gravest wrongdoers, starkly oversteps its bounds, perpetuating a cycle of disproportionate punishment and despair. The haunting presence of Dementors within Azkaban serves as a chilling testament to the inherent cruelty of the institution, subjecting inmates to relentless psychological torment. Sirius's wrongful imprisonment epitomizes the dire repercussions of systemic injustice and the unchecked authority wielded by figures like Barty Crouch. The nebulous nature of minor transgressions and their potential repercussions within Azkaban raises troubling questions about the fairness of punishment meted out. While egregious crimes may demand stern retribution, the absence of viable alternatives underscores a punitive ethos that dismisses notions of rehabilitation and individual circumstance. In essence, Sirius Black's ordeal at Azkaban serves as a damning indictment of a justice system marred by arbitrariness and authoritarian overreach. It is imperative that we confront these systemic failures head-on, lest we perpetuate a cycle of injustice and suffering for generations to come. Sirius Black suffered in Azkaban, trapped by the Dementors' darkness. Despite this, he held tight to his belief in his innocence. He often transformed into his animal form to escape the worst of the Dementors' effects. However, this caused confusion among the guards, who thought he was going mad like some of the other prisoners. Inside Azkaban, Sirius grappled with painful memories, especially the betrayal of Peter Pettigrew. He and other Death Eaters speculated about Pettigrew's role in Voldemort's downfall, hoping for a chance to bring him to justice. Over time, Sirius endured more hardships, including the loss of his mother and the abandonment of his family home. Despite these challenges, he refused to let the darkness break him. Sirius Black's escape from Azkaban was a daring and mysterious event. Sirius waited for a chance, a glimmer of hope. The opportunity came in 1993 when Sirius, driven by a mix of revenge and concern for Harry Potter, his godson, discovered Pettigrew's true location, hidden within the Weasley family as Ron's pet rat, Scabbers. Despite being thin and weakened from captivity, Sirius seized the moment. When the Dementors opened his cell door, Sirius transformed into his animagus form, slipping past them. With freedom within reach, Sirius transformed into a dog and braved the dangerous waters of the North Sea, swimming tirelessly toward the mainland and the promise of freedom. After escaping Azkaban, Sirius Black embarked on a series of clandestine adventures. His first stop was Little Winging, where he startled his godson Harry as a teenager, appearing unexpectedly before the night bus whisked him away. His escape caused widespread panic, with fears of another round of mass murders and attempts to bring back Voldemort. The authorities, both magical and muggle, were on high alert. Sirius sought refuge near Hogsmeade and the Forbidden Forest, occasionally being mistaken for the Grim by Harry. He crossed paths with Hermione Granger's clever cat Crookshanks, who recognized Sirius's true identity and attempted to bring Peter Pettigrew to justice. However, Ron fiercely protected his pet, Peter. Desperate and teetering on the edge, Sirius infiltrated Hogwarts through the secret passage from the Shrieking Shack. He clashed with the Fat Lady when she denied him entry to Gryffindor Tower, leaving her portrait slashed. Despite his chaotic actions, he found solace in watching Gryffindor's Quidditch match, marveling at Harry's flying skills reminiscent of his father James. Eventually, Sirius breached the Gryffindor common room using a stolen list of passwords, searching desperately for Scabbers. However, Peter had once again fled, spurred by Sirius's escape. In June, Sirius caught Ron with Scabbers just being found in Rubeus Hagrid's cabin. He then took them both through a tunnel to the Shrieking Shack. Harry and Hermione followed, with Harry wanting to confront Sirius about his parents' supposed betrayal. Because of Sirius being weakened and wandless, Harry overpowered him, with Crookshanks trying to help Sirius. Professor Lupin and Sirius forced Pettigrew into human form in the Shrieking Shack. Lupin disarmed Harry when he had Sirius at his mercy. Lupin and Sirius wanted to kill Pettigrew for betraying Harry's parents, but Harry stopped them. He believed Pettigrew should face justice with the Dementors and didn't want his father's friends to become murderers. Sirius then asked Harry if he wanted to live with him, and Harry enthusiastically agreed. However, Lupin transformed uncontrollably under the full moon as they left the Whomping Willow, forgetting to take the Wolfsbane potion. Sirius, in his efforts to shield Harry, Ron, and Hermione from Lupin's danger, transformed into his animagus form, a dog. This diversion allowed Pettigrew, the traitor, to slip away. Weakened by the encounter with Lupin's werewolf shape, Sirius couldn't defend himself when a swarm of Dementors descended upon Hogwarts. Harry and Hermione, trailing Sirius, stumbled upon him lying unconscious amidst the sinister Dementors. Despite his best efforts, Harry couldn't summon the Patronus charm to repel them. Just as the Dementors closed in, a powerful stag-shaped Patronus intervened, saving Sirius from soul-sucking oblivion. Following a brief recapture by Snape and a harrowing sentencing to the Dementors' kiss, Sirius found a lifeline through Dumbledore's counsel. With the aid of Hermione's time-turner, Sirius seized a chance for escape, joined by the noble hippogriff Buckbeak, whom they rescued from imminent execution. Though still a fugitive, Sirius reclaimed his freedom, his soul intact, known to the select few who believed in his innocence. In the aftermath, Sirius reached out to Harry, Ron, and Hermione via an energetic owl, revealing his clandestine role in gifting Harry the Firebolt and extending Harry permission to visit Hogsmeade. He also extended heartfelt apologies to Ron for the loss of his pet, offering the owl as a surrogate companion in Scabbers' absence. Sirius Black, having escaped the clutches of the Ministry of Magic, spent weeks in hiding, evading capture, and communicating with Harry Potter sporadically to maintain the secrecy of his whereabouts. Despite his elusive nature, Sirius remained a valuable mentor to Harry, offering advice and guidance from afar. His preferred method of communication involved the use of exotic birds, leading Harry to suspect his tropical hideout. During a period when Harry found himself unexpectedly entered into the Triwizard Tournament, Sirius took refuge in a cave near Hogsmeade. The trio, consisting of Harry, Ron, and Hermione, visited him in this concealed location. Sirius, ever the supportive figure, provided moral encouragement to Harry during the challenging times. He warned Harry about the dubious past of Igor Karkaroff, the Durmstrang headmaster, revealing Karkaroff's previous association with the Death Eaters and his betrayal of fellow wizards. This information proved crucial as it shed light on the dangerous alliances within the wizarding world. Amidst the turmoil of the Triwizard Tournament, Sirius urged Harry to focus on the immediate tasks at hand, advising him to leave the mysteries surrounding Barty Crouch's illness for others to unravel. When Barty Crouch Sr. mysteriously disappeared on the castle grounds, Sirius cautioned Harry about the potential dangers lurking within Hogwarts. He stressed the importance of practicing defensive spells and warned against wandering alone, emphasizing the perilous nature of the times. After the final task of the tournament, Dumbledore called for Sirius to meet with Harry, who barely survived a run-in with Voldemort. Sirius wanted Harry to rest, but Dumbledore insisted on their meeting. As Harry recounted the night's horrors, Sirius struggled to contain his anger and emotions. Learning that shades of his old friends James and Lily had returned deeply affected him, prompting him to hide his face in his hands. Following the revelation of Snape's dark mark, Sirius, along with Harry's friends, stood by him as he recovered in the hospital wing. Dumbledore allowed Sirius to stay with Harry in his dog form, despite Madame Pomfrey's surprise, as he listened to Cornelius Fudge doubt Harry's credibility about Voldemort's return. Once Fudge departed, Dumbledore outlined plans to resist Voldemort. He asked Sirius to reconcile with Snape and gather allies like Remus Lupin Arabella Figg, and Mundungus Fletcher to lie low at Lupin's house until further notice. Sirius promised to return to Harry soon before departing to fulfill Dumbledore's instructions. During the Second Wizarding War, Sirius found himself reluctantly back in the thick of things. With Lord Voldemort's resurgence, Dumbledore rallied the old members and reinstated the Order of the Phoenix. Sirius, being a key figure, was tasked with gathering the old crowd and spreading the word. Reluctantly, he offered his family's ancestral home, 12 Grimmauld Place, as the headquarters for the Order. However, this decision came with a bitter pill to swallow. Sirius, still wanted by the authorities, became a virtual prisoner in his own home. Stuck within its ancient walls, he grappled with feelings of uselessness and frustration. His only solace was occasional contact with Harry, maintained through owls and the Flu Network, risking exposure to the ever-watchful eyes of Dolores Umbridge. Despite his confinement, Sirius tried to be a guiding light for Harry during his 5th year at Hogwarts. He supported Harry's defiance against Umbridge's tyranny and endorsed Dumbledore's army, a secret defensive group formed by students. His unwavering support, however, raised concerns among some, like Hermione, who feared he might be living vicariously through Harry. The Christmas of 1995 brought a flicker of warmth to Sirius's cold existence. With the arrival of the Weasley family and Harry at Grimmauld Place, Sirius emerged from his despondency. His spirits lifted as he joined in the holiday festivities, even breaking into song, momentarily escaping the shadows that lingered around him. Despite his struggles, Sirius remained a source of advice and comfort for Harry, offering his wisdom amidst the chaos of war. He gives Harry a magical mirror to communicate with him. However, Sirius does a poor job of explaining its function, simply stating that it's a mirror and they can see and talk to each other whenever. Later in the story, Harry, overwhelmed by his emotions, wants to talk to Sirius. However, in his distress, he forgets about the mirror's purpose and opts to use the knife Sirius gave him to open Umbridge's door instead. The crucial detail of the mirror being a means for Sirius to know if Snape is giving Harry a hard time slips his mind. This oversight becomes a frustrating plot point for readers, as the mirror could have potentially prevented the tragic events that unfold later in the story. Sirius Black, along with other members of the Order of the Phoenix, rushed to the Ministry of Magic upon learning of the perilous situation Harry and his friends faced. As Harry and his companions navigated the eerie corridors of the deserted ministry, they found themselves confronted by Death Eaters lying in wait. In the heart of the Department of Mysteries, amidst the chaos and the looming threat, Sirius squared off against his relentless adversary, Bellatrix Lestrange, in a fierce duel within the ominous confines of the Death Chamber. His determination to protect Harry and thwart the dark forces was unwavering. However, despite his valiant efforts, tragedy struck in the heat of battle. A spell cast by Bellatrix found its mark, sending Sirius tumbling into the enigmatic veil that stood sentinel in the chamber. Harry, witnessing the harrowing event, was left devastated by the loss of his beloved godfather. The death of Sirius Black was undeniably a profoundly tragic event in the Harry Potter series. His life was a roller coaster of hardships, starting with his tumultuous family background as a member of a dark wizard family. Despite that, Sirius managed to break away and become a genuinely good and noble person. His brief moments of happiness, such as his time at Hogwarts and the freedom he experienced after graduation, were overshadowed by the betrayal of his best friend, the framing for a crime he didn't commit, and 12 years of unjust imprisonment in Azkaban. Even after escaping, he lived in hiding, denied the luxury he deserved. The hope of clearing his name and building a new life was shattered when his freedom was once again stolen by the escape of Wormtail, forcing Sirius to return to his traumatic childhood home. The weight of his past and the isolation in Grimmauld Place took a toll on him, yet he yearned for a connection with Harry and the chance to be a positive influence in his life. The moment of Sirius's death during the battle at the Ministry was unexpected and sudden, leaving readers reeling. It marked the end of a life filled with heartache, a life that never truly found peace or sustained happiness. The contrast with characters like Lupin and Tonks, who died fighting for what is right, highlights the uniquely desperate and sad tale of Sirius Black. His story is a testament to the unfairness and brutality of the wizarding world, where even those who strive for good can be relentlessly battered by fate. After Sirius Black died, a lot happened. Harry was really angry and sad, wanting to hurt Bellatrix with a curse. Voldemort also showed up, making everything scary scarier. Dumbledore and Voldemort had a quick fight, and Voldemort ran away, leaving the truth for the Ministry to see. They finally understood that Sirius was innocent. Sirius didn't have any kids, so things got complicated after he died. His family line ended with him, and his brother Regulus was already gone. Sirius's will sorted out who would get his stuff. He left everything to Harry, like his house, pet, and money. Harry was nice and gave the house to his friends, kept the pet, and let the creature serve at Hogwarts. He also reunited Buck with Hagrid. Sadly, the bike of Sirius was destroyed when Death Eaters attacked the Order in Privet Drive neighborhood. Ted Tonks saved what he could and sent it to Arthur Weasley for repairs. Sirius Black was one of the 4 ghostly figures that appeared when Harry used the Resurrection Stone on May 2nd, 1998. He talked to Harry as Harry prepared to face what he thought might be his last moments. Sirius told Harry that dying wasn't painful. It was more like falling asleep peacefully. He promised to stay with Harry as he confronted Voldemort, offering his support until the end. As Harry walked toward the fire, Sirius let go of the stone, and the apparitions of Harry's parents, Sirius and Lupin, vanished. To honor his godfather, Harry named his first son Sirius, showing how much Sirius Black meant to him and how his influence lived on in James Sirius. The portrayal of Sirius Black by Gary Oldman in the Harry Potter series received mixed reactions from fans. While many appreciated Oldman's talent and versatility as an actor, some felt that he was an unconventional choice for the role. Oldman's performance as Sirius Black was praised for its depth and complexity, with some fans highlighting his ability to embody the character's sense of danger and edginess, particularly in Prisoner of Azkaban. However, Oldman's portrayal didn't fully capture the reckless and impulsive nature of Sirius as described in the books. Some fans expressed disappointment that Oldman didn't match their mental image of Sirius, which often included a younger, more rugged appearance. They felt that Sirius should have been portrayed as more of a wild mountain man, resembling a younger, more physically imposing figure. Despite these criticisms, many fans still acknowledged Oldman's talent and the complexity he brought to the role. Gary Oldman has delivered exceptional performances in a wide range of films throughout his career. One notable example is his portrayal of George Smiley in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, where he masterfully embodied the complex and enigmatic character from John le Carré's espionage novel. Another standout performance is his portrayal of Winston Churchill in Darkest Hour, for which he won numerous awards, including the Academy Award for Best Actor. Additionally, Oldman's role as Dracula in Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula showcased his ability to bring depth and intensity to iconic characters. These are just a few examples of the many films where Gary Oldman has left a lasting impression with his exceptional talent and versatility as an actor. You should have died rather than betray your friends, as we would have done for you. This was one of the most famous sentences of Sirius when he addressed to Pettigrew his guilt. His last word was James, while he was fighting to protect the son of his best friend, Harry. I hope you liked this life overview about Sirius. Consider subscribing to help the channel develop, and if you want another analysis of a character in Harry Potter, feel free to ask in the comments. See you soon. P.S. The bird bites.